What is going on, everyone's? You are tuned in to another episode of
Is My Point Valid?
Yes, indeed. I am Brandon D.
And I am Camille A. Stocker.
And today's topic is going to be
Human Rights Campaign.
Yes, indeed. Now, most of us know the difference between a privilege and a right. And it seems like there's a lot of people out here who are creating campaigns and creating organizations on the premise that they are about human rights. But we are finding out that a lot of this is privilege. People want things that they're really not entitled to, but they feel like they are because I made this decision to be this way. And we're about to watch a video that talks about the Human Rights Campaign. It was started by, I can't even remember her name, but she'll tell you what her name is. So let's get into it.
I am a lesbian, a dyke,
non-binary or genderqueer.
Why does a rideshare company produce videos with people saying they are
out and proud?
For the same reason a defense contractor funds this float. They know doing these things will help get your company a perfect score on something called the Corporate Equality Index.
This year, the CEI rated 1,142 companies with an incredible 767 scoring top marks.
We celebrate Hyatt's selection for the 10th consecutive year by the Human Rights Campaign.
The Human Rights Campaign is headed by Kelly Robinson, who's been good at convincing companies that their customers want them to support the HRC.
Consumers are 2 times more likely to want to buy from brands that support the community.
Supporting the community is a good thing. I certainly support human rights. But Robbie Starbuck says
They have nothing to do with actual human rights. They're an LGBTQ plus advocacy organization that pushes topics about transgenderism into the workplace, and they support sex changes for kids.
Starbuck uses his big social media following to criticize companies that partner with the Human Rights Campaign.
When you see a company gets 100% from the HRC, it does great harm.
Harm, he says, because your health plan must cover trans surgery.
Yes.
I know people who've had the surgery and they seem happier.
If you're an adult and you make a set of decisions I disagree with, that's your prerogative. But I don't want to give my money to a company that is going to turn around and use it to fund any sex changes of any child, period.
The HRC does require awarded companies to pay for puberty blockers for teens. Now, we can debate the age at which you're considered competent to medically change your gender, but I had no idea that so many companies pay for it.
Okay, Roger.
Google even provides a concierge to help people transition.
Google's bringing on a dedicated.
I ain't see HEB on there. I ain't see regions on there. Hey. Oh my goodness. There's a lot of people that don't know this is going on. And we have to, when we hear these words, human rights, women's rights, all of these things, it's clever wordplay to get you to think that it's something that it's not.
It's because it separates you from the rights that you are already given by God and by the Constitution.
You already got
You already
rights.
have rights.
So everything on top of that is privilege as we continue.
Hated trans liaison to help interpret these benefits.
Now, you will watch a video about gender.
To further raise their Human Rights Campaign scores, companies show employees videos like this to educate them about gender identity.
It's a girl! Well, actually, it's more complicated than that.
Companies are also supposed to sponsor LGBT events, produce LGBT products, and donate to LGBT groups like the Human Rights Campaign. That helps them collect their millions of dollars.
You got to make it very well known to the world that you are all in on this.
Even part of your Amtrak tax subsidy now goes to pay for this stuff.
Including education on personal pronouns.
So,
mind you, I looked into Amtrak, and Amtrak, they don't make any money. All of their funding comes from the government. Everything. So the fact that they're using that money that they clearly don't need because they're giving it to these organizations.
Right.
It's where your money going.
Airbnb.
This is where y'all. This is the. What is this? Johnson & Johnson, Intel, Google. I don't know. I can't.
That's what I'm saying. Like what?
It's almost like we supporting this stuff whether we want to or not.
Yes, especially Google, because everybody. What do we say? Right? What do we say when we want to find something? Google it. Right? Man, Coke. Well, I don't drink Coca-Cola like that, but I like a good Coke. You know. But that's Sprite.
I'm looking at an AMD right now.
You know. You looking at what? Yeah. Intel. I don't use Dropbox. I don't use Uber. General Electric. That's freaking light bulb.
Yeah, I know about BlackRock.
Yeah, Black. I ain't fooling with BlackRock at all.
But
Best Buy is where you go to get your electronics,
exactly.
And then you can't go to Fry's Electronics because it's gone. And then I don't really be shopping on Amazon like that.
But they ain't on here.
They're not. They are not. Good point.
As we continue.
All these companies suck up to the HRC. Yet the more I looked at the campaign, the less it seems to be about human rights and more about left-wing advocacy. It's not just LGBT. On their homepage, you see protesters holding signs saying, "I will aid and abet abortion." So it's a question of what do they mean by human rights?
Yeah. Which humans, which rights? Apparently, if you're a small enough human, you don't have rights, and they'll actually support killing you.
When I think about the work of the Corporate Equality Index, it is about trust and it's about partnership with businesses to make workplaces as inclusive as possible.
Trust?
Possible for LGBTQ plus people.
You know, this is giving like the fight for Black people, like Black people need to be inclusive in everything, or we need to include DEI for Black people. All they're doing is taking that and it's the same marketing. They're catering to one specific group of people. It's the same freaking tactic.
And these are the same people that tell you if you don't agree with this, you ain't Black.
I don't agree with it.
I ain't Black. But as we continue with the nonsense and the foolishness.
Today, most businesses are inclusive. LGBT people are more accepted than ever. Just 20 years ago, most Americans opposed gay marriage, and most said gay relationships were morally unacceptable. Today, most Americans accept gay marriage and say gay relationships are moral. Yet recently, the HRC declared
a national state of emergency for LGBTQ plus people.
This is a crisis right now.
I think I know why she says that. If
they have a Black woman leading this. So that's also a thing of you're Black, you're queer. There's this,
you super oppressed.
Right. Oppression, that's the word.
I'm super oppressed. I'm Black. I'm a woman.
I'm
queer.
I couldn't think of the, yeah. I'm a woman. I'm Black, and I'm queer. So life is hard for me. But you're
extra hard.
But you're a president of whatever this is, and you get to tell people what to believe in.
Your lifestyle is the decisions that you make. We shouldn't have to sign on to that.
Because that's a decision that you made
for yourself.
And that whatever you do in your house, in your bedroom, that is for you to do.
We don't need that in the streets.
That's what it's all about.
Schools.
Do the whole
and just like he was saying, whatever a grown people want to do with themselves, that's
your right.
That's your right. You can do what you want to do. But when you start including people that don't want nothing to do with that secretly, and then you holler about your main thing is trust.
Mm-hmm.
I find it kind of hard to trust you.
You're deceiving.
Straight up.
You're a deceiver.
As we proceed. Activists acknowledge that Americans now largely accept LGBT people. the HRC might go out of business.
One of the aspects of the CEI is that we are never going to reach a destination.
Of course, now America's politics have changed.
Donald Trump wants to erase us.
At the Democratic National Convention,
We are not going back.
HRC's boss got lots of applause.
Every time they say we're not going back, I don't understand what they're saying, because these are the same people who are still marching like it's 1964. These are the same people that are crying about doggone slavery that happened 200 plus years ago. What do you mean by you're not back? What does that mean? Somebody explain that to me. Put that in the comments, please. What does that mean? We ain't going back. We're gonna go back to this video.
But her corporate support has begun to shrink, partly because of Robbie Starbuck's posts.
This is not appropriate for kids, but Toyota sponsored an event where guys like this walked around.
He's persuaded many companies to stop trying to please the Human Rights Campaign.
We came along and told people the story, and the backtracking began.
Major U.S. companies, Lowe's, Tractor Supply Now, and others.
It's all good as long as it's in secret. But as soon as the secret comes out, I'm about to say nigga, people start retracting. People start falling back. Oh, I didn't know. Yeah, You knew what you was doing.
It's just like in the schools, they're saying there is no CRT. Well, I know they're talking about DEI, but it's there. It's actively there.
Will stop submitting data to LGBTQ plus advocacy group, the Human Rights Campaign.
Now, businesses can join whatever list they want, but they ought to do what's good for their business.
At the end of the day, that's all people want, is for businesses to do their business, not to virtue signal to us or to perpetuate a political ideology.
We invited Human Rights Campaign's boss to rebut arguments Starbucks makes in this video. She didn't respond. But, Ms. Robinson, my offer still stands. Please come here. I'll give you time to argue your points.
Come here.
All my career as a consumer reporter.
So, didn't say. It's a lot of stuff going on the low, on the DL. And we got to open our eyes to this wordplay and these organizations that are infiltrating the conservatism with this foolishness. Because it's only a matter of time. Matter of fact, they already after our children.
Right. It's been in play for a very long time.
You give them an inch, they'll take a mile. Mm-hmm. And we at the mile right now. They trying to take 10 miles. Straight up. They trying to turn it into a freeway. But
that is interesting.
Very interesting stuff. And
HRC, Human Rights Campaign. I never would, because my mind, I don't.
When if I say Human Rights Campaign to you right now, what are you thinking about?
I mean, human. Like, what is your right? But even still, that's still confusing to me, because I see the Bill of Rights, I see the Constitution, and I know we already have rights. You're talking about, and the rights that you're talking about is to alter bodies. Like we're saying, if you're a grown person, cool, you do whatever it is.
And make sure you pay for that on your own too.
Right. You
don't have Medicaid or none of that paying for it, because
and then people are like, they're trying to take our Medicaid away. Man, it needs to be reevaluated. I'm not saying it needs to be taken away, but it needs to be reevaluated on who, what, and where, when, where, and how. It should be Medicare should be for children who need it,
and the elderly.
It should
not
be
Social Security.
Right. It should not be for people who just, I want a sex change. No.
You wake up one morning talking about I'm a fairy, and now you want to get surgical wings.
That makes sense. Human Rights Campaign. That's interesting. That was, wow.
Very interesting stuff. But with that being said, we're going to get up out of here. And like always, it's love, peace, and soul. Bye. Like Soul Train, baby.